easier. Okay, so we are going to basically learn today our future with coding. That's the work we are going to do today. So here we go. First of all, we should know a little bit thing about what is coding and why we are learning it over here. So let's get started. A brief outline about every single thing that we are learning today. So some of the things we should know about that what is Scratch. If someone is going to ask us what is Scratch, we should know about that what is Scratch. And what is Scratch used for? Why should we learn to write programs? And how do we do coding with the Scratch? These are the things that we are going to learn today. So here we go. The first question that is in front of us is what is Scratch? If someone is going to ask you what is Scratch, you can easily tell that it's a block-based programming language. And this block-based programming language is going to help us to find out things. So let's see how we are going to do this one. So what is Scratch used for? Scratch is used to help kids in a fun way with the help of animation and games. That's the work of Scratch. If we are directly going to teach someone about Scratch or any other programming language, it got a little bit typical. So that's why we are using Scratch over here to make it more easier for you to work upon. So why should we learn about programming? Maybe that comes in your mind that I have a lot of work from the school. I have maths to learn. I have physics to learn. I have biology to learn. Why should I learn Scratch? So the reason is that programming helps you to think, be creative, and build other relevant skills. It's one of the most important skills in the current digital world. So we should know about how to work with the Scratch, how we can tackle with the Scratch, how we can work with the Scratch. That's the next thing that we are going to work upon. So here we go. The next question, how to work with the Scratch. So Scratch is basically about turning your ideas into reality. You can do a lot of things into reality. And why we are doing this thing? Because nowadays computer is gaining every single part of the industry. If you go to the agriculture, you will be able to see the computers. If you go to the energy, you will be able to see the computer. In the shopping apps, we see our computers are being used, our technology is being used. If we go to the medicine area, it's also being used. So that's the way computer is basically taking every single part of our life. So we should know about how it's gonna work out. So here, first of all, we should know about what is computer coding. So computer coding is about giving logical instruction to the computer so that it can complete a task. It is one of the most fundamental things in the creation of technologies that are powered by computer science. So in this way, we can work upon and find out whether it's perfect for us or not. That's the way of working with coding. Now let's move ahead and work upon the next thing that we are going to do right now. So here we go. Let's see how to make a project on the Scratch, how we can work upon and how we can make our own project over Scratch. Okay. So here, first of all, we should know about our goals, our objective. If our objective is clear, we know what we actually want to do, then it's quite easier to work upon any of the things that we want over here. So first thing first, your objective should be clear. If your objective is clear, then you can easily make things out of anything. So your objective should be clear, and then you can do the things, you can do the wonders with this one. So that's the way we do in our coding. Now let's work upon the next thing. So if our objective is clear, we can do the things, and how we can do the things is quite easier to work upon. So we have Sydney over here. Okay. So the first of all, we should know about the objective. So the objective is we will decide that what we want to do. That's the way we are going to work upon. So if we know our goal, we know that how the things are working, then we can easily work upon, and it will be easier for us to make any single thing. Now, the next thing we should over here is know what is computer program. So here we go. I will tell the computer and it's gonna follow. So let's see how we are going to do this one. So first of all, right now, if I say to my computer to switch on, so do you think my computer can switch on itself by, if I'm saying to switch off, to play a song? So these things don't happen. Computer cannot follow our instructions just by us saying. Computer need to be communicate with its own way. Like right now we are communicating with English. So maybe some of you are well versed with other languages like French or something. Maybe some of them are not very much good with the English. So those people would like to work upon that particular language. So that's the way things happens over here. So if we know about a particular way to communicate with someone, we can easily work upon. That's the thing we should know about coding. So here we go. The instructions that a computer can understand to complete a given task is known as program, and program is also called as a script. So you can name it as a code, you can name it as a script, you can name it as a program. So in this way it works, we give it a name. Now, today we will make a sprite to move different directions like left, right with the help of our arrow keys. So it's like what happened in the games. As you would have seen in the games, it happens sometimes that you're moving the things are being moved. So that's the thing that happened in our program. So let's see how we are going to do this one. So for this, I'm going to share my screen once again. One second. Yeah. So here we go. This is how our program is gonna look like. As soon as I'm clicking onto the green flag, so what's happening? It's gonna go upward with my arrow key. It's gonna go to the right hand side with the arrow key. It's gonna go down with the arrow key, and it's gonna go left with the help of an arrow key. So in this way, this thing is gonna work out. I'm using only the arrow keys over here and it's working. Basically, you can give the instructions that you're not doing anything and it should still work out. It's up to you, because in the gaming, what we do, we press the keys and the things should have happened. So that's the thing we're trying to get over here, achieve over here. So let's see how we are going to do this one. So first of all, we should know about a sequence. We basically see sequence a lot of places, like we see the sequence over here in our numbers. It's like that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and all that. And we also see the sequence in our alphabets like A, B, C, D, all of them. So in this way, sequence is basically every single way. If I give you an example of sequence, so I can say your seat number in your classes, I can say your roll number at the time of your exam, or we can particularly find out a lot of ways to see the sequence. Now, why we write 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6? Why not 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1? Why we write A, B, C, D, not D, C, B, A? So there are a lot of reasons that are behind it. Let's try to understand those reasons over here. So every single thing that we see over here in the sequence is basically having some of the particular reasons why this thing is happening. And let's try to understand why this thing is happening. So if you see over here, there is a logical reason behind every single thing. So it's having a logical reason behind every single thing that we are going to work upon. So here we go. We should know about that what is a sequence. So a sequence is something that is going to work out with a proper logical order. Like it should have happened in your class when you are speaking a lot and your tutor says that, okay, you girls are speaking a lot. Let me have you to sit in between two boys so that you're not going to speak a lot. So your teacher find out a logical order in which she can do and stop you to talking a lot in the class, right? It happens sometimes. Teacher change your place of the sitting so that you don't disturb the other student. So that's the way it happens in sequence. Now let's try to understand the next thing, how we can approach to our coding. So steps to approach are quite easier. First thing first, you're going to do some planning, you're going to do some abstraction. Second thing, there should be some backdrop or sprite that you want to be in your own application. And the third thing that we needed is to use the code, and these codes could be have any kind of logic, anything that you want should have happened. So it's basically any kind of logic they can have, and you can think about the things that you like the most, you want to do in your own scratch program. Now, the first thing first, whenever we try to make an object, we try to make a project in our scratch, first thing we do is the abstraction. So first of all, we should know about what is abstraction. So abstraction is when we are creating something, then there are many things that are confusing. We are making something, you're making a project in your class. Then sometimes you got confused. What should I do? What should I not to do? What is the topic that I want to work upon? And all these things. So it's a good practice to identify the main details, removing the unnecessary details so that it's gonna bring more clarity for you. So the actual definition that we can define our abstraction over here is abstraction is about identifying the important details and removing the unnecessary details. Now, for example, instead of saying something like, I want to make a project over this topic, I want to do the different colors or something like that. So it's like planning the things. That's we called abstraction. So abstraction is about making the complicated things into easiest way. That's the work of abstraction over here. Now, first of all, we are going to think about what kind of backdrop, what kind of sprites we want. Imagine you're making a maze game, so you can think that, okay, I need a cat sprite, I am going to take an apple that my cat is going to eat. I'm going to take a backdrop that is related to a maze or something. So in that way, you can do the abstraction. But whenever you want to do the abstraction, you need to ask yourself two questions. First question is what will happen on the stage? And second question is what sprite and the backdrop will be needed. So these two questions are gonna help you out to work ahead easily. So that's what we are going to do over here. So here we go. Let's do the abstraction to make understand project and make it quite simpler for us to work upon. So we have two questions over here. That is what will happen on the stage and what sprite and the backdrop will be needed. So here you can say that penguin is gonna move right, say I'm moving left, all the things that we are going to do in our program. If in your program you're making some kind of a game, then you can write down about your game, that what is happening in your game. Like in your game, the controllers are doing what, in your games, you're gaining some kind of points, or every single thing in a detailed form that you want should be happen will come up with this question when you are planning something. Second is what sprite and the backdrop will be needed. So basically you can choose your own sprite, you can choose your own backdrop. It's up to you. So the sprite is something that is going to follow every single thing that you want. It's basically going to behave as an actor and act upon all the things that you wanted to be do. The next thing is a backdrop. Like right now, I'm sitting in front of my laptop and I have a wall behind me. So it's my backdrop. Same way, you want something to be your backdrop and you can take it that as a backdrop. It's up to you which kind of a backdrop you feel good for your application. It could be anything. So that's the way we are going to work upon. Now, first of all, our work is going to be like this. We are going to bring the sprite and the backdrop on our stage. And the sprite and backdrop that you want could be anything. So let's do and explore our Scratch. So this is a platform, scratch.mit.edu, that we can work upon, and it's easily available. Freely you can make your own games and every single thing over here. So I have provided the link into the chat box. You can work upon that one and see. So let's see how this platform is gonna work upon. So you can see over here the option that says create. So we are going to click over here in the create. When we click over this, it's going to take some time and we will be having a complete platform on which we are going to make our own game. It could be any project, it could be any animation that you want. So first of all, let's try to understand about all the things that are present over here. So this little cat is known as a sprite. So the cat over here is known as a sprite and it can do anything that you want. And the area in which this sprite is present over here is known as a stage. So this is our stage over here. Like in your school, you have a stage where you try to do the things. The same way, it's also a stage over here. So it's the stage where our sprite is gonna perform like you do in your school. Now the next thing over here is our code palette. So this is our code palette where you're going to get all the kinds of code that you want. They are present over here for you to work upon. And this middle area over here is known as workspace. Like in your notebook, you have a workspace to write down the things. The same way we have workspace over here. Now at the downward over here, you will be able to see something. So here you can see the backdrop over here to be worked upon. Same way you can oversee some of the sprite property. So it's basically a sprite palette where you can choose different properties of the sprite, like the name of the sprite. Do you want your sprite to be shown or not to be shown? You can change the size, whether you want it to be the bigger or smaller, and the direction of your sprite. Right now we have cat over here and you feel like, no, I don't want the cat. Then you can see here a dustbin option. When you're going to click onto this dustbin option, it will just go away. Now, if you think that I want some other sprite or something, then it's the option for you to find the new sprite. And here right now we are having a white background over here. So if you want some other background or the backdrop, you can choose it from here. So let's try to explore more of the things. So first of all, we are going to say bye-bye to the cat because we don't need it now. So here we go. The cat is gone. Now, if you want, you can choose your backdrop. So the first option, choose backdrop. Here is a bigger library of Scratch where you can find out your own backdrop that you want. The next one is the paint. You can make your own. If you're a good artist, then go ahead. I am not very much of a good artist. The third one is the surprise. If you want the Scratch to surprise you, the Scratch to choose for you any kind of backdrop, you can choose the surprise. And if you have some picture that you want to upload over here, then go ahead. So one by one, let's explore. So over here, we have a lot of backdrops. So whatever you feel like, you can choose the backdrop over here. It's quite easily, you can just need to click and you will getting your backdrop. Like I click over here, I feel that it's the grid one. If you think that you don't like, then you can choose another backdrop. It's up to you, whichever backdrop you want, just click onto it. The backdrop will be there. Now the next thing is to choosing the sprite, the actor who is gonna work over there for you. So we are going to click on to the choose a sprite, and here a lot of sprites will be present for you. And you can choose basically any of the sprite that you feel like. You feel that that sprite is the cute one, you can choose that sprite. If you feel that I want some other sprite, that's okay. You can take some other sprites also. So here we have a lot of sprites, like you feel that Pico is cute, you feel like some other sprite. So here is a complete library for you. So we are taking like snowman. Let's take the snowman over here. So here you can change every single thing that you want for this one, and you can change its coordinate and every single thing. Now we took our sprite and the backdrop. So I told you in the abstraction what we do. In the abstraction, we choose our sprite, that what sprite we want. So when you are working on any project, you're going to think about, this is my sprite, this is my backdrop. You can change any number of times that you want. It's up to you. You can change n number of times. There is no issue. Now, what you're going to do, you're going to choose your sprite, you're going to choose your backdrop. When you choose your sprite, when you choose your backdrop, the next thing that we are going to do is just click on to that we have choose these two things. Now, the next question that is going to in front of us, that what we want to do in this application. That means what would happen in this application in your program. So it's up to you how you want to do the things. So the next question is going to be, what would have happened? So if you're making a game, you have to think, okay, I'm going to click on to that thing, this thing should have happened. I'm going to click on to the another thing, this thing should have happened. So in this way, you're going to something like make over a strategy like you do in your projects in your school. You do that. I am going to make my project on this topic. I'm going to use these pictures. I'm going to use these things. All of these things you make a planning. Same thing we are going to do over here. Imagine in this first class, we are going to work upon how to move our sprite like we do in our games. In games, we have the controller as our arrow keys. So we are going to learn about how we are going to do that. So let's work upon these things. So imagine you want the things to be happen something like you're moving your sprite some way, you're moving your sprite to upward, you're moving your sprite to the downward. So the different things you can do over here. So let's try to understand how we are going to do. So first of all, in your code palette, first kind of code you can see over here name motion. So just English meaning of motion is related to moving. That means you're moving something. That means you are taking something to one place to the another place. And that's what motion do. If you see its code, it's moving the 10 step, it's moving it, turning it 15-degree, turning it again 15-degree to clockwise, anti-clockwise, going to some random position anywhere on the stage, going to a particular position. So all these codes are related to motion, is actually related to moving. The next we can see over here is looks. So from the looks, I think you can really imagine that what it is. So maybe some of you would love to read comics, right? So in the comic, sometimes it happens that there is a bubble, a speech bubble come in which it's written that hi, hello, something like that. I'm going to do that. So these speech bubbles could be make over here. So looks is basically related to how your sprite will look on your stage, how your sprite will look on stage. So these are the things that we are going to do over here. So looks is related to this one, like you wanted to say something, you wanted to think something, you wanted to switch the costume, change it to something else. So these are the things that is gonna happen. Now the next one over here that you'll be able to see is the sound. So sound is basically when you want some kind of sound to become. In our game, sometimes it happens when you would have played the game. So what happens in the game most of the time? It happens that you are listening some kind of sound. Some people don't like the sound, they just turn it off. But it's related to the sound. You can change its pitch, you can change its volume. A lot of things you can do over here. It's up to you how you want to do the things. So it's related to the sound as the name says. Now the next is the most important kind of category that we are going to have. It's known as events. So in the events, we will be having our codes that is going to help us to work upon any similar thing as a start. So event are something that we want to do, like a parallelism things that should have happened. So here in the event, what we want the things to be done continuously. So that's the thing. Event is related to you do something, something happen. Okay, so event is like this, like at your home, what happened at your home? Maybe someone came, they ring the doorbell and you go, you open the door. So you do something, that means you ring the bell and something happened. That means you go to the door, you open the door. So this is the event that happened over here, and event is the most important thing to trigger to start our program. So let's try to understand how we are going to do code over here. Like here, I want when I'm pressing a key, it should move around. So here, what we are going to do in the events, I'll take one space key pressed. Now, if you want at the space key, or you can choose any other key that are present over here. If you want when the right arrow key is pressed. So at the right arrow key, what should have happened? You should know about. It should go into the right direction over here. It's up to you how you want the thing. So we want it to move to the right direction. That means we want it to be moved. So we are going to go to the motion. So from the motion, I took move 10 steps. And if you want, you can change the number of steps to any amount that you want, 100, 50, whichever amount you want. And after that, if I'm clicking onto the right arrow key over here, so what's happening? It's moving to the right arrow key. Now it's moving to the right direction. It's working perfect. Okay. Now let's try for the moving to the left side. So same thing we done over here. So if you want, you can add, I'm moving up with the looks. With the looks, you can add over here as I'm moving up. You can add in the say block. I am moving up. So this is the thing that we can do over here. Now what's gonna happen? As I move the right key, it's gonna say I am moving up. So in this way, we can do the things. Or if you want, you can add some kind of sound also over here. If you feel that there should be some kind of sound, there should be something that you want it to be happen over here. So you can go to the sound and you can add the sound. Basically, we have sound over here and you can choose the sounds from the library over here, like we did when we choose our sprite and when we choose our backdrop. So here you will be able to hear the sound. Give me a minute. Yeah. So as soon as you're going to click over this, you'll be able to see the sound. Whichever sound you want, you feel comfortable with, you can choose that sound. Like here, by default, we have this pop sound. So you can choose this pop sound over here. So right now I'm clicking onto the right key. It shows a pop sound. So in this way, at the end, it's showing a pop sound. And if you want, you can choose the position where the pop sound should come. It's up to you. Now, the same way we are moving for our next key, that is going to be our left arrow key. So here we go. We are going to choose for the left arrow key. You're going to move it again. How many steps? It's up to you. It could be 100, it could be 50. And now it can say I am moving, instead of up, here should be I am moving right. Sorry. And the same way we are going to do, I am moving left over here. So I'm just going to copy it. You can duplicate it over here. So here we go. We are going to add it over here. So instead of right now, I want what? I want it to be said that I am moving left over here. So here we go. We were able to do for the moving left same way. But if I am moving it right now at the left, okay. So it's basically not moving left. It's again moving right. Why it's happening? Because we need to tell the direction over here. By default, direction is going to be 90-degree right hand side, but we have to set when we want to change the direction. So that's what we are going to do. We are going to move to the motion and here we are going to change it point in direction. So point in direction, here a clock will come in front of you. As you can see, right shows 90-degree. Now we need to go to the left. And when we move it over here, so we see that it's minus 90. Now we need to add for the right also over here as 90, because if we want to move it once again, it's going to remain as minus 90. Now I am moving it to the right. I am moving it once again to the left and you will be able to see. Now what's happening? It's rotating. So it should not rotate. We are going to go to the direction option and here we have this option, do not rotate. So now it's not gonna rotate basically. So here we are going to try it once again. We click on to the right, it moves to the right direction. We click on to the left, it moves to the left direction. So in this way we can do. And whenever we do, we can work upon the different costumes. We can make it different costume where it's gonna change its costume and move to the another side. That's the way we can work upon and make our application more easier. Like here, if I'm going to duplicate this one, and we can just select this one over here, and you can flip it horizontally so that it's gonna see the another side. Now when I wanted to move left, I can do that. It's gonna see the another side. For this one, what we are going to do, for this one we are going to go to the looks, because we are changing its looks. So we are going to change its costume to the snowman too. So here right now I am moving it to the right. Then again, after moving it to the right, I wanted to move it to the left. So you have to do some planning, and according to that planning, you can make the things easier for you to work upon. The same thing you can do for your left hand side and right hand side that we have done. Same way, up and down. For the up and down, some things are going to be changed. Our pointing direction is going to change over here. The number of steps, it's up to you. And in the return, we are going to say whether we are moving it up or down. And if you want, you can change some another kind of way, a sound, whichever sound you feel comfortable with. You want it to be show that sound, you can work upon that sound over here. Right now, if I'm clicking on to this, so you can see that in the up, we can basically see this one is going to be the upward if we want over here. So for the upward, we are going to have 0 degree over here. So what's happening over here? If you want the direction to be up, it should be 0 degree. If you want your direction to be down, it's going to be 180 degree. If you want your direction to be right, then it should be 90 degree. If you want your direction to be left, then it should be minus 90 degree. So in this way, we are going to work on every single thing and work it out. So do some exploration, try out the things. Now we are basically done. And for your reference, here are all 4 codes that we are going to use it to move. And you can basically take a screenshot or something if you want. So the same way you can add some kind of duck sound or something. It's up to you. Now, there are 2 strategies by which you can work upon. Do experimenting with the code, practice, remix the projects, and share with. And don't stop, sleep over the things, and work upon in a perfect way every single thing. So that's all for today. Thank you, everyone. Bye bye. Have a great day.